Today is a very exciting day because I've set aside the entire time just for creating and painting. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the very early stages where I am finding the thread of a new project. I have an exhibition coming up in October 2025, so I thought now would be a really good time to begin to gather nuggets of ideas and start to figure out what this next body of work might be about. I wanted to share this very early stage of the process with you just because I think it's really interesting to learn more about other artists' approaches and ways of working. I'm not looking to do anything resolved, but I'm looking to see what lights me up through the process of making. And so today I'm really excited to share with you some warm-ups I'm doing. I'll then be moving into making a really long Concertina sketchbook, which I'm very excited about. And then I'm going to wrap up the day with a large-scale painting/collage. If you're starting a new project yourself, I always love hearing about them. So let me know what you're up to, what you're making down in a comment below. And if you've been meaning to start something new for a while, why not go grab your sketchbook, grab a cup of tea and paint or sketch along with this video, and maybe together we can find some new ideas. Before we jump into the video, I just wanted to say hello, welcome, my name is Orla and I'm an artist and an illustrator. My work is inspired by nature and our connections to landscape, and I mostly work between painting and illustration. Here on YouTube, I love to share my creative process, the different learning curves and projects I'm going on, to share an honest look into the process and progress of a professional working artist. Over on my Patreon page, the Outdoor Sketchbook Collective, I share monthly learning resources through written guides and video tutorials, and we also host monthly meetups on Zoom. We have a chatty co-working session, and we also host 2 monthly workshops to help artists all around the world make a bit more time and space for play in their creativity. If you'd like to know more about me or the Outdoor Sketchbook Collective, I'll leave links in the video description down below. Let's start the studio session with a bit of a warm-up, and today I'm going to start out with some mixed media in my sketchbooks and also work on top of old paintings. In this hour of warming up with sketches, working on top of these older paintings, I realised how much I love the feeling of reacting to layers of these older works below. Each surface was sparking a new idea, where to place my figures, how much to add or how little. I love the painting process when I'm not trying too hard to control what I'm doing, and rather to be led by the process or the painting itself. Because these bases were painted for something else entirely, it was really fun to try and discover or reimagine a new story in them. Could that paint mark be the silhouette of the mountain now? Could that colour wash be the hillside? And so on. I didn't enter this session with much of a plan, but really wanted to follow anything that felt good. And now I knew that I wanted to take this process of working on top of older works, or on top of abstract paintings, further today.
Through the arbor, in the garden room, wings are beating, baby, me and you alone. Pencil drawing phases of the moon. All through the
Something I've been wanting to explore more in my painting is narrative, and I've also been really enjoying working right the way across my sketchbooks in these double-page spreads. So what I want to do is try and push that even further, and I've made some Concertina sketchbooks to push myself to work even longer across the ways. And something I want to explore just now is a sense of narrative. And I feel like I've started to do that with these initial sketches, sketching all of my different memories, different photographs from hill walking with my partner over the years. And I'd love to just keep on exploring, working from those memories, these different photos, and kind of collage them together in these concertinas. I pulled out my recently completed sketchbook. This one's recently been filled up, and 2 pages in it have been really calling to me. I made both of these collages on one of my Zoom workshops, which I run through my Patreon page, and they're in the studio play tier, so they're all about really like leaning in, making space for play in your practice. And looking back at these, I made them I think in August. And if you'd like to see the process, I've put a time-lapse demonstration over on my Patreon, and there's also a recording of that workshop, that Zoom call. Initially when I made them, I thought that the graphic shapes were too graphic for my taste, but actually looking at them now, I feel like they make a good contrast to hold all of the crazy texture and all of the colour and everything. It actually, I think, lends itself to giving the piece a little bit of space. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is I'm feeling really excited by these, and I want to pull some collage into my concertina along with these sketches of figures. And that's my plan. That's as far as I've got, and I just want to react to the page as it goes and kind of improvise along the way. So let's give that a go just now.
vivid in the bone, phosphorescent. In the heavens, a billion signals move. too. Slowly we take on phosphorescence, vivid in the bond, phosphorescence. Midnight halos, twist that together, turning over, so close together. Midnight halos, twist that together, turning over, so close together. Slowly we take on phosphorescence, vivid in the bond.
Something I've become increasingly interested in over the last few months has been this idea of nostalgia, of dreams, and of memories. You know, that kind of intangible nature where things are not quite real or not quite in reality. You can nearly touch it, but not quite. You can't quite grasp it. And I'm quite interested in that feeling of memory and remembering. And that's something which I'm enjoying exploring by referencing all of these different photographs and pulling elements of lived experiences from many different years into the one painting. I'm quite enjoying referencing people and different places and different objects and combining them as I have been doing today in my sketchbook. I only wanted to let you know why I'm using all of these different photographs and why it's important that they're not in chronological order or from the same place. I'm definitely excited about moving away from painting specific locations and instead making my work much more informed by feelings of ideas of places so that they are echoing more universal experiences about our connections with nature, landscape, and other people in our own communities. I've just taken a wee minute to bullet point out a bunch of feelings which I have remembered in response to my many different walks with friends. And some of those I've written down nostalgic, sounds of the wind. I've also been thinking about the different senses and the different things that you can feel from these different memories. We've got the sounds of grasses rustling, snacks, mist, the sense of feeling small, the sense of awe, of magic, of aliveness, of feeling whole, of joy, mystery, burning legs, a feeling of being relaxed and of having a clear mind. So those are some of the things which I'm going to try and translate into these paintings. And those things are going to be symbolized through the different colors that I choose, through the different marks which I use, through the different shapes and textures. Absolutely anything that I add to this piece is intentional in an effort to reference one of those points which I've just listed out. Do you ever find yourself starting a painting or creating anything for that matter, and it's not until you are at least halfway through the creation process that you realise what it is that you're actually capturing or what you're actually making? I was completely freestyling this piece, just going off of the words that I had written down, the different drawings I had around me. It's not until right now that I have realised that this is a memory, and this painting is of a walk that me and my partner had taken on New Year when it was lockdown, and you couldn't go more than a few miles from your home. And at that point, we lived in the countryside and could walk from the house. So we did this big loop and camped overnight to bring in the new year. It was one of the most beautiful and special New Year's we've had, and we were absolutely frozen. I have like an Arctic grade sleeping bag because I'm really, really cold person, and I was still cold. And it wasn't until the morning when we had taken down the tent where we realised we'd actually camped on top of this frozen river that had sprung from the bog. I think our body heat had melted it a little bit, and so everything was absolutely soaking wet with melted snow. So we got everything packed up, and as we were heading home, about halfway through the route back, we decided to stop and we made some hot chocolate to heat ourselves up again. And that's the story, really. It was a winter wonderland, everything was covered in ice and snow. It was so beautiful. And now we know for next time to double check that we are not camping on top of a spring.